Hello, TMI. My name is Mouna Al-Hakeem, and I would like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a Syrian American, but I was born in Springfield, Illinois. I'm allergic to fruit and basically everything in this world. My favorite colors are black and red. I'm the keeper on our girls' soccer team. My absolute favorite artist is Shawn Mendes. I'm the middle child with 3 siblings. And for most of my life, I have hated myself. All my life, I have been subjected to words like fat, ugly, annoying, as a way to describe me as a person. Don't get me wrong, I had a great childhood with amazing friends who would let me forget these hateful words. As a child, I started to gain weight and began to look a little chubbier. There wasn't any particular reason for my weight gain, just that I loved food. This bullying started in 3rd grade. I was in the same school, but as the new school year came around, I had a really awful haircut, thanks Mama, and all the fast food I've been eating had finally caught up to me. It started off with just simple, lighthearted jokes that didn't really bother me. But the more these jokes were made, the more that people started to think that it was okay to call me them. I never told my parents or any of my teachers because I always lived by the common saying, snitches get stitches. I kept all these hurtful words in me throughout the day and always saved my tears for when I was alone. One event I will never forget was when 2 young boys, a year older than me, decided to compare me to a sumo wrestler. That is when it hurt the most. And I decided to tell our school principal about the verbal abuse I was enduring. It stopped for a couple of months, but the hateful words just kept rolling after that. I wasn't only getting these comments at school, I would get them everywhere I went. Even in summer camp, people would always call me Patrick, you know, like the character from SpongeBob who was dumb and fat. I would try to laugh along with them because it seemed like an easier solution than to stand up for myself. My sister Madame wasn't having it though. She went to the same summer camp and even went as far as to scold these boys about their offensive language. And let me tell you, they did not take her seriously, considering they towered over her and thought they were so cool. My sister always helped me throughout my rough patches and would always defend me if anyone decided to make a comment about me. Growing up, my sister and I didn't have a good relationship, but that didn't mean that if I was in need, she wouldn't be there, because let me tell you, she was always there. A little late, but always there. Me and my sister always had the same friend group as well. We've been friends with them for about 13 years now, but throughout these years, I've always felt secluded from the group. They didn't necessarily do anything for me to feel that way, but the way that I saw it was that there was no way people would accept me because I looked the way that I did. It felt as if they were only my friends because Madame was my sister, so I had to tag along. These feelings never left, and growing up with them, I was always on edge and waiting for the day that they would tell me I wasn't like them, therefore, I can't hang out with them. I tried to change my personality, to feel more accepted, and would never voice my opinion over anything. I carried these traits on to my new school as well, TMI. I started TMI as a little insecure 7th grader. Coming into TMI was one of the scariest things that I've ever done. It was my first time ever going to a school where there was probably only 5 Muslim students. And it was also my first time wearing the scarf in public. This also added to my insecurities because not only was I wearing the scarf, I was overweight and shy. Just like in any situation in my life, I chose to adapt and pick up on people's actions by mimicking them in order to fit in. I put up an act faking that I was happy, and I bottled up every small joke people would throw at me. TMI was more accepting than I expected. However, I would still get many comments about my scarf and questions about religion that to a middle schooler made me feel judged and uncomfortable, even though it was probably not intended that way. I was able to keep this happy facade up for the rest of middle school and thought maybe high school would be different. Going into my freshman year, I made more friends and was feeling happier. But the problem with more friends is more insecurities, more doubt, and more self-hatred. Every time I would think that I was happy, I would get into a really bad mental state that would keep me from being happy. It felt like a constant battle with myself, in which I wasn't winning. Somehow, I was convinced that the only way I could be accepted was if I lost weight. So, I stopped eating altogether. I would starve myself for days on end, only surviving off of crackers and water. If I was at the dinner table with my family, I would tell them I had already eaten and that I wasn't hungry. At school, I would preoccupy myself with work during lunch so people wouldn't get suspicious. I would occasionally eat a full meal in front of my family or friends so it wouldn't seem like anything was wrong. And eventually, I began to lose weight, and at a significant rate. But I was also feeling very weak. It became normal to feel tired even doing the smallest tasks, feeling dizzy and close to blacking out 2 to 3 times a week. I was able to hide this from the people that I loved for months. Even throughout this, I still wasn't satisfied with myself. I would always be in a bad state in my head. Nothing was ever good enough for me. It came to the point where I felt like I wasn't good enough for the world. I felt like I was so insignificant that if I was gone, people would benefit instead of lose. These thoughts would constantly resurface until I finally talked to one of my friends. I was scared to open up to them, but I reached a point where I needed to leave everything out. I needed to let everything out. They would always be by my side and would stay up almost every night on the phone to make sure I was okay. They would constantly talk me out of these mindsets that I had. As time went on, they made me believe that it was okay to ask for help and to receive it. It was okay to not always be happy and that people wouldn't care if I acted like myself. Slowly, I started getting back into a healthier diet. This wasn't an immediate change, however, it was a process where I would have days where I would go back to my bad habits, but I was able to get over them and get back on track much quicker. Because one of my friends who encouraged me, I had the courage to talk to my sister and my other close friends about how I was feeling, and I received an immense amount of support. Looking back now, I realized that I should have shared with my parents. The way that I was feeling and the problems I had with my image. I know my parents would have supported me and done anything necessary to help me. Honestly, I was scared to open up to my parents because they are the most important people in my life. And I never want to do anything to disappoint them. The first step to getting through these hardships is to accept that there's a problem. The second step would be to find the people that you trust the most and to talk to them about it. The rest of these steps follow after with the help of everyone you trust. Shawn Mendes said in one of his songs, "Sometimes it all gets a little too much, but you gotta realize that soon the fog will clear up." This quote shows that with time, you can overcome even the most difficult of hardships with the patience and the will to put in the effort. It's okay to go through rough patches in your life. It's okay to have off days. It's okay to feel like you need help. It's okay to feel alone. It's okay to just not be okay. And it's okay to put the facade down and just show people how you truly feel. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't bottle things up because you will reach a breaking point. You have family and friends who care and will be there when you break and will also be there to put you back together. Don't underestimate the love that people have for you. And if someone doesn't love you, then you don't need them. Because in the end, this is your life and no one else is living it. So make the best out of it and surround yourself with people who will remind you of how amazing you are every day. Finally, I would like to say thank you to my friends, to my teachers, and most importantly, my family. Because without you guys, I would not be where I am today. Thank you.